Hello, today I will read Exodus chapter 34. In chapter 33 we saw that Moses saw the glory of the Lord, or the Lord himself, but he couldn't see his face. Because God told him that for no one may see me and live. Okay, let's continue. The Lord said to Moses, "Chisel out two stone tablets like the first ones." But the first ones, I think God gave. God, it was a work of the work of God. But he broke them. Like the first ones, and I will write on them the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke. Be ready in the morning, and then come up on Mount Sinai. Present yourself to me there on top of the mountain. No one is to come with you or be seen anywhere on the mountain. Not even the flocks and herds may graze in front of the mountain. So Moses chiseled out two stone tablets like the first ones and went up Mount Sinai early in the morning, as the Lord had commanded him. And he carried the two stone tablets in his hand. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and stood there with him and proclaimed his name, the Lord. And he passed in front of Moses, proclaiming, the Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands, and forgiving wickedness, rebellion and sin. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and their children for the sin of the fathers, to the third and fourth generation. Moses bowed to the ground at once and worshipped. "O Lord, I have found favor in your eyes," he said. "Then let the Lord go with us. Although this is a stiff-necked people, forgive our wickedness and our sin, and take us as your inheritance." Then the Lord had said, "I am making a covenant with you. Before all your people I will do wonders never before done in any nation in all the world. The people you live among will see how awesome is the work that I, the Lord, will do for you. Obey what I command you today. I will drive out before the Amorites, Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land where you are going, or they will be a snare among you. Break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, and cut down their Asherah poles." I don't know what is that. "Do not worship any other god, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God." Whose name is jealous. "Be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land, for when they prostitute themselves to their gods and sacrifice to them, they will invite you and you will eat their sacrifices. And when you choose some of their daughters as wives for your sons, and those daughters prostitute themselves to their gods, they will lead your sons to do the same. Do not make cast idols. Celebrate the feast of unleavened bread. For 7 days eat bread made without yeast, and as I commanded you. Do this at the appointed time in the month of Abib, for in that month you came out of Egypt. The first offspring of every womb belongs to me. including all the firstborn males or of your livestock, whether from the herd or flock. Redeem the firstborn donkey with a lamb, but if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Very weird. Redeem all your firstborn sons. No one is to appear before me empty-handed. 6 days you shall labor, but on the seventh day you shall rest. Even during the plowing season and harvest you must rest. Celebrate the Feast of Weeks with the first fruits of the wet harvest, and the Feast of Ingathering at the turn of the year. 3 times a year all your men are to appear before the sovereign Lord, the God of Israel. I will drive out nations before you and enlarge your territory, and no one will covet your land when you go up 3 times each year to appear before the Lord your God. Do not offer the blood of a sacrifice to me along with anything containing yeast, and do not let any of the sacrifice from the Passover feast remain until morning. Bring the best of the firstfruits of your soul to the house of the Lord your God. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. We saw that each firstborn should be redeemed, and even from animals. And bring the best of the first fruits of your soil to the house of the Lord your God. It's nice. And do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. This is a moral thing. I don't know how they were cooking the meat, but with milk it's very... I never did that. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write down these words, for in accordance with these words I have made a covenant with you and with Israel." Moses was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights without eating bread or drinking water. He didn't need anything because God was with him, and God fulfilled all his needs just by his presence, because he is the life, and you don't need anything else if you live with God. With God, I mean with God in person, in front of him, in person. And he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. Yeah. Still God wrote the covenant, the words of the covenant, but those tablets were made by Moses, and the first ones were made by God himself. But Moses was angry. It was a good anger, by a good reason, because they were making an idol. But still, he destroyed God's what God has made, those tablets. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hands, he was not aware that his face was radiant, because he had spoken with the Lord. When Aaron and all the Israelites saw Moses, his face was radiant, and they were afraid to come near him. But Moses called to them. So Aaron and all the leaders of the community came back to him, and he spoke to them. Afterward, all the Israelites came near him, and he gave them all the commands the Lord had given him on the Mount Sinai. Wow. So even your face become radiant, become like a, I think like a light. um, I don't know, I didn't see Moses' face to explain it, how it was. When Moses finished speaking to them, he put a veil over his face. But whenever he entered the Lord's presence to speak with him, he removed the veil until he came out. And when he came out and told the Israelites what he had been commanded, they saw that his face was radiant. Then Moses would pat the veil back over his face until he went in to speak with the Lord. All his life from now on? I don't know. But it was a time when Moses' face became radiant. He put a veil over his face because they were afraid. It was like his face was like an angel. I mean, with angel lightning, or yeah, he saw God himself, and God spoke with him in person, and he was, wow. I wish and I want that too. To meet God in person. Okay, that was the chapter, and so we see that it's not impossible to see God, but not His face. His face, He don't allow anyone to see His face. Anyone, any people, until just after we will die, maybe, or after we will resurrect and we will come in front of Him, all the people, and we will see, each of us, we will see His face before we will be judged by coming by going to the heaven or to the hell. Depends on what our life decisions and what we do in this life. Okay, and because if we accept God, if we accept Jesus Christ to be redeemed or not. Okay, that was the chapter. May the God bless me, protect me, and delight me in the next chapter too. And if He wants, you will see me there too. God bless you all, and goodbye.